My name is Jennifer Stay. This is Coloring Bliss, and welcome to this week's live event. We are here to do some coloring with markers. Got a purple marker in my hand, and yep, my girl's gonna have purple hair. I made a decision. So this is part 2 of our weekly live event. First part was over on Facebook. I recommend you join us. We do our live events like this every week on Wednesdays. Part 1 is on Facebook. Part 2 is here with YouTube. And yeah, we're here to do the second part. What we did over on Facebook is we have chosen the colors for our coloring page. We talked about how Steve and I have spent the last few days putting together all the new colors from the brand new release of markers for the Blick Studio Brush Markers. And we put them all, integrated them into the existing colors that were already available for those markers. And we've got them all in a beautiful chart now. This is my chart here. It's not as pretty as your chart. I've got handwriting and all kinds of scribbles and stuff all over it. But the chart that you can come and get for free looks so pretty. Steve has made it so nice. This is it right here. So it's a multiple page download, and what we've done is we've taken all the new colors, 47 new colors that we unboxed together last week with you here live on YouTube. And what we've done is we've integrated them in. So Steve, was that a fun process?
Yes. Actually, I enjoy it. It is kind of fun.
Yeah. So we have pages and pages. I'll show you this one is the one that.
Oh, yeah.
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 That was really fun. So.
I didn't know if you wanted to show them.
Oh, well, if you want to see the whole process, we kind of broke it all down over on Facebook of what we did and how we integrated all the browns. We decided to integrate the browns and the skin tone type colors into their color families. So if the brown sort of leaned green, it's in with the greens. If the brown leans orange, it's in with the oranges.
Because in the past, we most of the time we'll just put the colors in the order that the company who created the tool does.
Yeah.
Because we figure they probably have a reason for doing that.
We hope they do.
Yeah, but this time we had to integrate so many that we decided to just start over, and we did it by color wheel.
Yeah.
So when you get the free swatch chart that we're offering, it's all organized for you already, starting with yellow, making its way around the wheel. You can see there, yellow, green, green, blue, green. And like you said, it was kind of fun integrating those browns because they definitely lean like red or orange
or blue
or yellow
or green. Yeah, so Steve used his well-trained color eye for us, and I double-checked and usually never had any other. He was always right. But we got them all integrated in, and this beautiful chart now you can see has all the names and numbers beautifully printed out. So all you have to do is come on over to Coloring Bliss, become a free member. It's just me and Steve here at Coloring Bliss, so we'll protect any information you share with us. And when you become a free member, you can download this chart and start collecting all of the new markers. Full set syndrome activated. So yeah, that's here. And then after we got this all organized, that's when we shifted into the tritones. And the tritones around here, if you've been around us at all, you know what I like to do is then take all of those markers or color pencils or whatever the tool is and put them together into light, mediums, and darks. So in the end, you end up with a chart like this, where you have 36 individual markers or pencils or whatever the tool is. And it's a light, medium, and dark for every color on the color wheel. So we had originally done this with the old set of Blick markers. And now that we have 47 fresh, beautiful new markers, we went through and revisited every single tritone and said, can we do better? And like we did, we had like a little contest over on Facebook to see if anybody could guess. And in the end, we changed all except for 4 of these tritones. That means 8 of these got a facelift with new colors in them that made the tritone better. There's still a few that we wish were even better. For instance, blue-green is still suffering.
Yeah.
So if Blick is listening, Blick, help us out.
Well, what they did, with this new set, they did great with lights, and that's really what helped us.
Yeah, it really helped. The lights.
But darks are still
suffering.
So it seems like with this rollout, they focused on the lighter end.
Yeah.
So maybe the next time they'll do the darker end.
Yeah. So Blick, if you're listening, which I doubt they are, but if by some chance they are, we need a dark blue-green desperately, a beautiful, that we can, because right now we're using basic gray 5 as our dark blue-green. It's kind of a pathetic dark blue-green, but it's the best we can do, so there you have it. So if you would like my tritone selections for the Blick Studio Brush Tip Markers, then come on over to Coloring Bliss. There's links in the video description. Now to get this chart, this one is free. To get the tritones, this one you need to become a paid member. Now the lowest paid member is a colorist, and that one is just $5 a month. So that is an awesome way to support Steve and I. When we dive in on projects like this, it literally takes us days to create this kind of thing for you. Steve had to redo it. He had to type in every single number, every single word, multiple times. It takes hours for us to put things like this together. So your little $5 for the whole month is seems like a small little contribution, but it actually goes a long way to help Steve and I be able to do this kind of thing for you. So come and donate that little $5, become a colorist, and you get full access to this chart and a whole lot more. There's color schemes based on all of these colors. You also get access to a whole slew of other brand specific tritones like Prismacolors, Polychromos, Tombos, Inktense. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. Go and check it all out, because there might be other brands of coloring tools you own that we've already done a whole bunch of work for. There's also a generic, we call it the quick color picker. So if you just need a tool to help you pick colors that's sort of like this, but more generic, so you can kind of apply this same concept to any coloring tool, we've got that too. So we've got links to all of that. Come and learn about it all. We'll help you pick colors. That's one of the biggest gripes we hear from colorists is, how do you pick colors? We can help. So what we did is, now that we've got the new tritones, with the help of Facebook, we picked 3 colors for this coloring page. These are the 3 colors we picked. One of them is a new tritone, the red tritone we're using today for this coloring page. And this is the coloring page I picked right here. It's a free one. Links in the description. So you can come on over and this one, yeah, they can get this one in the description. And we're going to color her hair purple. And we're going to see how these markers work. So that's one thing we didn't get a lot of time to do last week, was actual coloring. We did one blend kind of towards the end of the hour, but we didn't do a lot of coloring, so I'd like to do that. And we can answer your questions about the Blick Studio markers and any other just general art questions I would love to answer. So ask away. Steve is here to look at your chat. And yeah, we're ready to go. If you're enjoying this, make sure you hit a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and share this with anybody else that you think might be inspired by art and just coloring in general. And yeah. Okay, let's get this over here. Oh yeah, and I did groom Rose. She's looking much better now. She's asleep. Maybe she'll pop her head up in a minute and you guys can see how cute she's looking. It took us, what, maybe 3 or 4 hours to groom that poor little girl. She was pretty rough.
Yep, the country dog.
Yeah, she was a country dog, and now she's a city slicker girl. Okay, so what I'm doing for her hair is I'm taking the lightest of the 3 purples, and I am coloring the whole hair in the light color to give us a nice base layer. And I'm not being too careful here for 2 reasons. One, we've got lots of layers to go on top, and 2, I'm just trying to go fast so we can actually get some color down.
Thank you, Jackie. She just donated.
Oh, Jackie, thank you so much. You guys are so generous.
And she says thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, Jackie. Okay, so if you see me go out of the lines like I did over here, yeah, I'm just trying to be fast here so we can actually get to the fun part, which is the blending and adding of the contrast. I've been studying pastels. We have, besides doing these live events every week with you guys, we also do weekly workshops, coloring workshops to teach different coloring techniques. Right now we're doing gel pens with our workshops with our partner levels. So if you want to more coloring tips and tutorials, then you should come and look into becoming a partner. But one of the things I would like to start teaching the partners with those workshops is how to color with pastels. So I've been taking a lot of tutorials and learning all about pastels again. I already have a basic knowledge of them, but I want to get better at it. Anyway, they've been teaching about value. He's been really teaching a lot about value, and it's really fascinating.
Well, that's what's so cool about the pan pastels, is that's how they organize their colors, is by tint, tone, and shade.
Yeah.
And the different values,
Yeah, and he shows this color wheel that I always recommend you guys buy, and I'm always telling the partners in our workshops to buy. And it has a value scale here. And he had a video, which I'll be sharing this guy, because he's really good and he has lots of free stuff. So I'll share all this with the partners when we do our workshops. But he organizes his pastels not just by color but by value. And anyway,
and is he doing oil pastels or chalk?
Chalk pastels.
And he really likes the soft. I saw that today.
Yeah, he's a big fan, and he classifies it not just by soft and hard pastel, but by soft, medium, and hard pastel, which I had never heard of medium pastels before. So that was interesting. Lots to learn from him.
Let's see. I think it was Nancy said, how do you store markers?
So typically with a double-ended marker, you want to store them horizontally so that the ink will stay evenly distributed between the two ends. Now Copic claims that that's not as important for them, because once you seal their caps on, they claim that that becomes sort of a vacuumed shut marker, and it keeps it pressurized. That's a better word, pressurized, so that the ink stays evenly distributed, so you can put your marker any way you want. But as a general rule, if it's a double-ended tool, marker, pen, whatever, you want to store it horizontal. If it's like a Sharpie that's single-ended, then you want to store it tip down so that that ink is always resting against that tip, so it's ready to go the minute you pick it up. Did you guys see Rose's tail going back there? She's dreaming. I wonder if she's dreaming about chasing birds, or there, her tail's going again. Can you guys see it?
Alicia says that she bought the watercolor paper from us today, and she asked if it was good for water-based markers like Tombows.
Oh yeah. I love our watercolor paper. It's a very unique paper. It's very it's lightweight, so it can go through your printer, and it's not heavily textured, so it's not your traditional like a classically trained watercolorist probably would not like this watercolor paper. It's really more for people like us who need the properties of watercolor paper, but we also want to be able to run it through our printer. So it does the same things as a watercolor paper, but it's not as what's the word, dynamic of a paper as, say, like an arches or a cotton-based paper. So it's really a good compromise paper. I love it, and I love using my Tombows on it. It does so many cool things. It's awesome. I guess I haven't said what color I'm using right now.
Oh, I was just going to say Jennifer asked that. Also, Peter asked, what do you recommend for left-handed colorists? How do you color if you're left-handed?
Pages that aren't bound are really helpful. Whether you're left-handed or you're like me and you like to rotate your paper a lot, unbound is really handy. We print our books here at Coloring Bliss typically at the top so that the binding is out of your way. That's great for whether you're right-handed, left-handed, or if you're like me and you like to twirl. We also print our books unbound, so you can get them unbound. You can stick them into sheet protectors or into a 3-ring binder, or you can just leave them loose so they're easy to color. Also, whether you're left or right-handed, the thought is work in a manner that you won't be dragging your hand through things that are wet. So you want to think order of operations is what I always say. I know that's a math term, but it works for art as well. You want to think order of operations and don't drag your hand through wet things. As I've been working through my swatching my this book here, I'm working on filling all the swatches out in my Tombow dual brush pen tritone book, and I accidentally colored the blues over here on one page, and I got blue ink all over on this hand, and I didn't notice it, and I dragged it across my beautiful paper. So I'm sure you run into that problem all the time, left-handed person. So it's just the same thing. Right-handed people have the same issues. You gotta think order of operations. So from then on, I was very careful to work top left and down. So for you, maybe it's top right and down, so you don't have that same problem. So yeah, that would be my hints. Not too many books are being printed for lefties, but we do it. When we started our print shop, I said to Steve, I want to print books for lefties. So that's what we do. Okay, now we're moving into the mid-tone, which is, so I just did 040 lilac across her whole head of hair. Now we're going into 034 violet. So these are all original marker colors. The way you can tell whether I'm using an original marker color or a new one is all the original colors start with 0.
Yep.
So the new ones all have
They're all
other numbers.
Above 100.
Yeah, either 118 or 554. That's all new numbers. Okay. So now I'm going to go and chase after any shadows on her hair. I'm not going to worry about light source too much. I'm going to assume a straight down light source and not be too finicky here about her light source.
With watercolor markers, if they're single-sided, do they recommend storing them tip down?
Depends on the brand. The Jane Davenport mermaid markers I store tip up because they leak. But like the Crayola Super Tips, I store those tip down. So it depends on the brand. Okay, so I'm just pulling in, this is the mid-tone, remember, so we have even a darker marker to come here. So I just want to kind of establish some shadows.
Oh, thank you, Vera. She just did a super chat.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys are so nice. Oh, she stopped dreaming. Rose was dreaming a minute ago and her little tail was going.
Judy asked what pencil sharpener you would use for the Albrecht Dürer Magnus watercolor pencils.
I used this one. This is the Coom. Has 2 holes on it. Oh, can they see that? There, that's better. This is by Coom here. So it has a standard hole and then it had a bigger hole, and the bigger hole worked really great. So that one works great, and it's a really cheap, no, inexpensive, but coum is not necessarily, depends on how you buy it, but yeah, this one's a really good, it's got the German blade. Coum brand is really good. K-U-M, Coum.
And Michelle just donated as well. Like,
Oh.
they're doing these cute little stickers.
Oh. Is that new?
I think so. There's that.
Oh,
one.
they're way cute.
And
I
this
haven't seen that
one.
before.
I'll show you the first one.
Oh. Oh. They're way
That was-
cute. Okay. I need to go faster. This is going to be messy hair, you guys. Let's embrace the mess here. So I'm using the brush tip here. So Blick has replacement nibs. So if the good thing about this kind of marker is if you do decide to color on less than ideal paper and your nib gets a little chewed up, it's not the end of the world. You can replace the nib, you can replace the marker, all that good stuff. Let's put a little dark in here too, just to make her part. Where if you had to replace the nibs on a Copic, it's a little bit more pricey, right? Usually though, if I'm coloring on something less than ideal, I will reach for like an Ohuhu type brushed nib marker. Okay, now I'm working with my darkest of the three. This is 073 Navy Blue, and I wish they had a better dark violet for us. Maybe someday. Okay, just gonna work in a few little dark blues. Gonna just follow the same place.
Jennifer loves that coum sharpener that's attached to the bottle. No miss.
Oh yes, I love it too. I'm gonna try to remember it when we go back into my RV. I want to bring it with me this time.
Peter asked, what kind of gel pens do you recommend?
Okay, so we're actually studying gel pens right now with the Bliss partners, and very first workshop we talked about how to collect gel pens. So if you want to get into gel pens, I highly recommend you come, and it's $25 to become a Bliss partner. But not only will you get the gel pen coloring series, you're going to get months worth of workshops. A year and a half worth of workshops. So yeah, not just gel pens. But I go into depth on how I would recommend you collect gel pens. But in a nutshell, what I would recommend is that you start, now I'm going back to the mid-tone purple, you guys.
By the way, Polly donated, and she says, always informative and fun. Thank you both for all that you do.
Oh, thank you so much, Polly. So what I would recommend in a nutshell for gel pens is that you start with just a good generic set of gel pens. Any like Chinese cheap set, you know, you go and you type in gel pens and up come these sets with like 200 gel pens, and you get the metallics, the glitters, the standard, the neons, all of them come in one big set. Sometimes they come with refills. Any one of those sets is a really good place to begin. So buy yourself one of those, and then after you fall in love and you become a partner and learn how to use them, then you start stretching your wings out into the more specialty pens, the more expensive pens, like I love the Moonlight pens by Sakura Jelly Roll. Those are amazing. You have to get the Pentel Sparkle Pop and the Crazy Pop pens. They're a dual, both metallic and glitter in like one pen. Those are amazing. I go into all of that. So that's how I would recommend. Start with a good basic set and then start spreading your wings into the more expensive specialty pens for the kinds of things that you need for the kind of coloring you like to do. Oh, I missed a overlap. Okay, I kind of pull some of this out a little bit farther. Can tell I'm going to want more of this mid-tone in these areas. Okay, messy, 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 but that's okay. A little bit more out here too. Okay. Yeah, that first episode, I think we looked at, I don't know how many different types of pens, and I sampled them all and showed them how they all work and when to use one kind and when to use another kind. Okay, now we're going back to the light tone again, and we're going to attempt. Now, they're not going to want to go together because it's a big jump. Again, we're limited by the number of markers that Blick has provided us. If we were working with Copics, we would have almost no limit, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to color off some of this mid-tone onto the glass. And then I can pick it up with my lightest marker and help that transition in the most obvious areas, like at the top of her head here. And just work that transition out a little bit. We have, in the partner program, we have, I think I taught a whole, did they do a whole thing on markers too?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a 4-part series or what it was. I can't remember now.
Can you replace the chisel tip with a bullet nib?
Yes. It will just matter whether the little neck, whether the neck is the right size. So, like if you bought a bullet nib by Prismacolor or Spectrum Noir, will it fit inside the marker you want it to fit into? May or may not. You'll just have to try it, or maybe ask. You can come on over to our Facebook coloring group. We have a really awesome Facebook coloring group with lots of very experienced colorists, and they will hopefully maybe be able to answer that question if anybody's done it before. Okay, that's helping that blend. Am I staying in the camera at all? I'm trying to go fast so we can actually see some of this come together. So this is a good trick if you're working with a limited color palette. It's kind of funny to say 140 something colors is a limited color palette. But it is.
Yeah, it's better than most.
Yep. Pull that on out. So that's... Oh, she's looking pretty.
Do you know if Blick carries an empty marker so you can create your own colors with the refills?
I don't think they do, but you can use any empty marker and the Blick refills to do that. So you could buy a Copic empty marker, Copic sketch, and use the Blick refills in it and do that. Okay, are there any blends? Oh, this is looking pretty rough down here. Let's keep blending that out a little bit. Now what I want to do...
And some speed coloring.
Yeah, it's turned out pretty good for a really rough, messy coloring. What I want to do is use that new pink that we're going to use for the red on the tips of her hair. Okay, let's cap this guy. And this is the lightest pink in our red combo here, right here. And it's called Soft Coral. It's a new color, 1, 2, 3. I love that number, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to use it really gently on the tips of her hair. just on the tips. Kind of anime type style here. Ooh, that's cute. Okay, a little bit more because it's looking so cute. Should I dye my hair like hers? I want to dye my hair before we set off in our RV again. Dyeing hair is not a job to be done in an RV. At least I wouldn't have the bravery to do it. I think I would probably turn our shower purple if I did it in our RV. Okay, a little pink. I'm using this particular pink on purpose because it will feel like it's the right color because it's part of our color scheme here. Okay, now if we come down onto the let's do this in greens. Do it in greens. And this is the yellow-green combo. I don't think it changed. Did it change, Steve? I think we looked at changing it, but I don't remember if we changed it.
Which one?
The yellow-green combo.
Yeah, we looked at some, but there weren't any that were better.
If you go kind of slow and smooth.
Ooh, Luminaria was able to get those 97-cent chows when they were at Michael's.
I never made it to Michael's. Maybe that's a good thing. Especially where we just bought 47 new colors of marker. Okay, so I'm going kind of slow. Oh, we got a little creasing, not creasing, streaking, that's the word. Streaking there in the middle. Hopefully I can hide that. I'm using the chisel tip for this part because it's a big, open, empty area. And I can just flood the whole area with our base color, which was 42 chartreuse. Now we're going mid-tone, spring green 43, and I think this one's getting dry, so I have a refill. This is what their refills look like if you're curious.
You're loving her hair.
I'm loving it too. I totally want her hair. So this is what the refills look like. They come like this. It has the names on the ends, just like the markers, like that. And the way you open it up, I'll show you what it looks like on the inside here. Never use your teeth. That was really ladylike. Okay, here we go. Okay, and then what you do is you have a tool, and I think it's right here. One more down. And this tool here, it's by Copic. They're called Copic tweezers, and that's a very special tweezer to help you yank out the chisel nib. Is the one you want to pull out, not the brush nib because it's so delicate. The chisel nib is really tough. So you reach in with your special tweezers and you pull it out. That's what the chisel nib looks like. And then you take this cap off. I'm not going to do a full refilling. I'm just showing you really quick how this process works. That's what the thing looks like, you see? Yeah. And you just tip it down in and squeeze it gently and slowly so you don't get backflow, because it's got to go in and soak that. It's like a felt, you guys know, it's like a felt tube in there that we're soaking with ink. Okay. And then you put your chisel nib back in. I overfilled it, so we're going to have a mess. Grab a paper towel. You can wear rubber gloves to do this so you don't get ink all over yourself, or you just go for it like I do. Then use a little bit of rubbing alcohol to clean the neck of your marker, because any marker that you leave on here gets kind of sticky. And that's how you refill your markers. There's more steps to it. I've done a video on how to care for your markers, so you can check that out. But these tweezers really are actually helpful. They're a little bit pricey for tweezers. At least I felt like they were pricey, but very worth it, I thought, because they grab so good. Yeah, this is what the replacement nibs look like for the brush nib. If you ever do destroy a brush nib, both Blick and Copic sells them. They're way more expensive, Copic ones are, versus Blick, but they are shaped different, so I don't know if they're interchangeable or not. So yeah, they're different. Okay, that's how refilling works. And then usually you want to let them sit for a little while so that that ink you just put in will disperse across and into both nibs. You can do a little drip of ink straight onto the nib if you want to get it juicy and get it going right away if you need to. That's a quick how to do that. Okay, the inks are useful for other things. You can do all kinds of art with the actual inks, so they're fun. Okay, for these, I'm going to do a little flick motion here and try to make these look a little, is the word tufted? Is that the word? So I'm going to flick in like this. That little button thing there is just begging for a little bling. Don't you think, Steve? Maybe a Crazy Pop or a Karen brush pen, something like that. It's begging for it. So last time I priced the Blick refills compared to the Copic refills, they were very comparable in cost, the two. And like I said, you want to keep your markers very juicy so that your nibs will last as long as possible. Plus, it's just more fun to color with a nice juicy marker. Okay, so you get the idea. We'll just do half the blanket. Now I'll bring in the darkest green, which is 084 dark olive green. And I'm just going to kind of do it a little, not a full flick because it's such a small area. Maybe, depends on the spot, right? I wanted to do her skin. I don't know if I want to do a full red skin though. Let's see, we could do red stars and just a really light pink skin. We have a lot of pinks to pick from, you know. Now, thanks to the new release, we are not lacking in pinks. Okay, oh, right here too. All right. Now back to the mid-tone, which was Spring Green 43. And we're going to see if we can blend this out and try to preserve that bright pop in the middle. And if we need to, we can do the same procedure we did over here to help it blend out, which I think we might need to do a little bit of that. So this is that darkest green here. Yeah, that helps. Just to make that transition a little smoother.
Nancy asks, what is flicking?
Flicking is the motion you do. I'll do it right here. That's a flick. When you touch down and then do the flick motion. You want to practice your flicks, huh, Steve?
Yes.
He has had many a flick tutorial from me.
Yeah, I just like the doing it like you're doing now.
The scruffling type.
With the board and putting some down. Jack said you could put the dark green down on there.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Oh.
Jack's one of our partners.
Mm-hmm.
So he has seen me do this before. Okay, now back to the lightest green, which is our chartreuse, and we're going to try to blend this out here. Just wash over the whole thing and bring it all together. You could use the chisel tip for this if you wanted to.
Mary says she would have colored the blanket with different colors and made it like a patchwork.
Oh, yeah, that would be so pretty. Well, you should come download it and do it. I would love to see that, and then share it in our groups. Okay. And then we could use, we've got these Karen Deco brushes I haven't played with in a while. Let's see if there's a green. Let's see. Oh yeah. Probably should have done gold. Oh well, too late now. Let that dry down and see what it looks like after it's dry. Okay. Now we got to do some skin, and what we want to do is stay in this red tone. So what we're going to do is bring up our swatches. I haven't colored bigger swatches than this yet. So we know our lightest tone is the 1, 2, 3 right here. So I'm going to look for a step down in that same color family, and I'm going to have Steve help me look. I'm thinking 1, 3, 4 is probably a good one. That's a new one. Is White Gardenia. I like that one. We could probably even do 094, but that one seems awfully almost fluorescent. And then 133 is even lighter, but I like 134. 134 to 123. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so let's do these two for the skin.
Jennifer asked, what is a deco brush?
These deco brushes are by Karen, and we did an unboxing of them a few months ago. And they're water-based metallic. Well, the ones I have are metallic. I'll move it in the light and see if I can catch. They have a silver sheen to them. So they're used by letterists a lot, and they come in a really large set. This is that lightest white gardenia color here. I'm going to try to color her with as little streaking as possible.
Josie asked, can blending markers be done with any marker? She's loving the color so far. Can't wait till the picture's done. You want to pair the right paper with the right marker. So right now we're doing alcohol markers, which work really great on this type of paper, which is like a really thick cardstock that's smooth.
But if I tried to use a water-based marker, say a Tombow or Crayola Super Tip, we would get a lot of streaks. So to try to do this kind of blending with a water-based marker would be really difficult. So I would recommend, if you want to use those types of markers, that you reach for a watercolor paper, and the smoothest watercolor paper possible that you can find. So a hot pressed watercolor paper would be what I would recommend you look for. And then you would probably be a lot happier. I don't know if any of you know the artist Draw with Jazza. He's been doing some reviews on markers lately, and he recently did a video about water-based markers, and it was just hilarious because he was trying to compare water-based markers with alcohol-based markers, but he didn't change the paper. He stuck with exactly the same paper, and he kept complaining about all the streaks and how his paper was pilling up and falling apart, but it was because he was using water, and that's what happens when you hit water onto paper. It just falls apart, right, you guys? And so I went to the comments to look and see if, make sure people were telling him to use watercolor paper, and sure enough, everybody was like, you gotta use watercolor paper. I was like, yeah, you can't expect that to work. Okay, now we're going back to our light tone that we used in her hair, up here on the tips of her hair, and we're going to add some shading. So I'm going for, I call it my Disney princess look here on her face. Not super lots of shading here. We've recently done some really fun how to color faces with the partners. If you're interested, come and learn with us on how to do faces. But I'm just going Disney princess tonight with her. Try to avoid her stars on her face. And alcohol markers, well, all markers really, well, that's not true. Alcohol markers tend to blend better if you do it wet on wet. So I'm going back and forth. I have both caps off at the same time, and I'm touching down and then flipping right away to the next color to get that to blend out right away. I'm doing lots of flicks. We've talked about the flick before, how it lays down a certain kind of ink, an amount of ink in a certain way, and that's why it's so helpful.
STX11 hasn't tried it yet, but says he, says, I just heard of a neat tip of using a 50-50 mix of water and glycerin in a water brush as a blending marker for water-based markers. Haven't tried it.
Yeah, that would work really good. Glycerin is amazing. We use it all the time here, especially for gel pens.
I wonder if the same would be true with that medium. What's that watercolor medium that you use to make your water wetter? Basically, to keep it wetter longer.
Yeah, it's the Daniel. No. Now I have to look at it and find it here. It's gonna. It's in my box behind us. Steve's gonna find it. That box with the blue lid. Nope. Box with the blue lid. Yeah, under in there. He's looking for it for me. Let's see if I can remember the name of it before he finds it, you guys.
Is it just the Winsor & Newton watercolor blending medium?
Yeah, that's the stuff. I've often wondered if this has glycerin in it, if that's what it is. And I've had people tell me before, I think Polly and a few others, to try glycerin in place of this. You can use honey. There's several other things you can try, whether they are light fast and archival and all those good things is debatable, and that's why I bought this stuff, because this is good for your paints, and this is, yeah, that's a whole different discussion. But yeah, That stuff helps your, if you live in a dry place, or say you're painting outside and your paints keep drying too fast that you can't work with them, that's what that's for. It slows the drying time. Okay, blending out her hand here. We're just doing some basic, like I said, Disney princess blending, and to give her a little shape so she doesn't feel flat. Okay, cute little hand that looks more like a paw. I'm allowed to say that because I drew it, so I can criticize the drawing, just so you know. I'm not hurting anybody's feelings. Okay, I'm using the lightest color up here to try to blend out where I did some purple on her hand. I'm fixing a problem. Okay. All right. Maybe she was dyeing her hair and got some purple on her hand.
Yeah, probably happened.
Yeah. And then she went to bed because she was so tired after dyeing her hair. Okay, she needs a little more red under her chin here because this would be the darkest spot, right? Okay, that's looking pretty good. Oh, her poor little ear didn't get any blending. And a little bit more here to make that ear fall back. I want that ear to fall back behind her face. Okay, we could keep going. I would probably shade a little bit under her chin. Probably, oh yeah, we need to do a little under her eye. There's different techniques we could do to give her even more dimension, but we don't have time right now. And like I said, if you want more in-depth on how to color faces and stuff, we do all of that in our workshops. So there, she's looking good, but we need more red. Let's bring in a red trim here on this blanket just so we have all of the colors represented in our color scheme. So we've got, this is our 3 colors here. So let's bring up the lightest, which is our new color, soft coral 1, 2, 3. Let's go like this. And we really want it to look different than her hand, but we picked soft coral on purpose in her skin and on her hair to bring a cohesive feeling to our color scheme. How's that for hoity-toity terminology?
That is amazing.
Yeah. Every so often I have to use the right terminology so I sound like I know what I'm doing.
That's right. Yeah, they're saying looks great.
Thank you. It's a little...
Turned out beautiful. She's adorable.
Aww. Okay. Now we'll go to the mid-tone and kind of make some decisions here where we want to see how this cap is sticking. I bet when we pull this off, we're going to see a lot of dried ink. Yeah, see? Oh, that neck needs to be cleaned. Okay, so we're going to do some shading in here. We want this to overall look red with some of that pink highlights. That's what I'm going to try for here. So this is kind of a high point, the way it's drawn. So I'm going to try to like blend that out. We'll see how that goes. Same with over here. There's a bit of a high point. Okay. So one of the things that this artist I've been learning from talked about, he called them color studies. We're using the darkest color now, which is 033 Brick Red. He did color studies where it was like a thumbnail or a miniature version of the thing he was about to paint. And he would try crazy color schemes before he would go to do the actual painting on the canvas or the big sized version. And he talked about how once you go to your actual canvas, your expensive paper, or the big version, you don't want to experiment with color because you're like worried. You know, this is the real thing. This is where I'm going to be using my expensive stuff, or I'm going to be investing a lot of time and I don't want to mess up, so I don't want to experiment with a crazy color scheme. So he does these miniature color studies before he starts the final painting to try crazy color schemes first. And he was showing how that's where he tries strange things like blue-green clouds or yellow-green shadows in the clouds, things that he would never try on a full-scale coloring page. Okay, back to the Midtone 005. And it was so fascinating to watch him try like just bizarre things that he wouldn't normally try. And it made me want to figure out how we as colorists could try that. Like, I don't know how, because we can't really print out. Could we print out mini versions of coloring pages? Like, if they are colorists with Coloring Bliss and they have access to this page, could they print out a mini version of this page somehow, Steve?
Yeah, in Adobe Reader, you can scale it when you print it.
And then maybe they could...
Well, how good it would come out, I'm not sure.
But that's...
trying.
He would do it, and then he would with 20 strokes practice a color scheme. That was his goal, was within 20 strokes have the whole color scheme laid out and see if he likes it. And then he would either decide, nah, it was a fail, I'm going to try something else. Or he would say, wow, that was a surprise. Blue-green in the clouds is an amazing new thing, and I'm going to use it all the time now. Like, that's what he would do. And I was like, how can we do that? That's an amazing idea. So, yeah, we need to figure that out. Okay, now I'm just blending and trying to leave that highlight there. And again, the idea was that it should feel like it's in the same world because we've used the same light, soft coral in her face, in her hair, and now here on the trim.
Jack and Teresa are blaming you for their FSS.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We can all suffer together.
Yes, they like the idea of gold.
There.
Libby says this is one of her favorite pictures.
Yeah, I really like her. Aw, I think that turned out really pretty. What do we think? I like how those highlights turned out right there.
Yeah, they're really cute.
Turned out really pretty. Now I want to do more red up here on the tips of her hair, though. I feel like we're on the right track of something here. Maybe this should be my new hair dye. There's no way I could do that, though. I'd have to go in and have it professionally done. I don't think I could do this on my own.
Mary says she thinks the red is her favorite in that color scheme.
It's kind of unexpected. I love the color scheme selector because it puts colors together that I would not choose. Red is not a color I reach for very often. I guess I need to reach for it more often because I'm really enjoying this. Look how pretty that looks. Let's compare with the darker red on the tips here versus no darker red. Look how pretty that is. Wow. Maybe that's what this is my testing.
Loves that hair combo. She's going to see if she can replicate it with the her oh-hoo-hoo.
Oh, I'm sure you can, yeah. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, they seem very pretty, gorgeous, awesome.
Kind of a fun little unexpected pop of red. And then back to the lightest one again to blend out the edges. Bring it out even farther. All right. Well, I probably won't finish her, to be very honest, because we've got a lot of other projects we're working on around here, including, like I said, I'm training myself for the next round of workshops that we are getting ready for here. So we'll just enjoy what we did do. And yeah, now I really want purple hair with red tips. That would look very interesting.
Libby says she's hot stuff.
Yes, she is. Look at her all dreamy there, laying in her bed. She needs...
Lisa asked why you're using the marker, then scribbling on another paper off to the side.
So this right here is actually glass. This is the... I don't know if we can zoom out. Let me see if I can zoom this out. Just a little bit. No, it won't.
I'd have to go to this.
Okay, there. This is the Tonic Studios Tim Holtz Glass Mixed Media Mat. So it lays out like this, has a glass squared area here, and then it has this white area right here where you can scribble markers onto it. You can put ink on it. You can use it so many different ways, and they make it white on purpose so you can see the colors that you've scribbled down. Like if I tried to scribble it onto the black area, you wouldn't see the colors at all. So that's why we have the white section, and they actually have like a mat that you can lay down and then peel it up and wash it if you want, but I prefer just having straight glass here that I can clean really easy. If you don't have glass, you can use like a ceramic plate. Works really good. You can go to like Walmart or Target or anywhere and just buy a white ceramic plate is what you're looking for, and that will work just as good as this piece of glass right here. Or you can go to Home Depot, you can buy a piece of glass. The good thing about this glass is that it's tempered, so if I drop something glass on it, that's plastic, so that won't break it. But if I drop my water bottle on it or something, technically it shouldn't break. I can cut on it. I mean, it's quite a cool thing. So it was gifted to me by Jack and Jerry Ann, and I was introduced to it by Polly when she was here a year ago now. It was when she came and she brought hers and let me play around with it. And yeah, if you want to upgrade your coloring station, I had to recommend it. And then what we used was some of that yellow putty stuff, that like poster putty, and I've kind of adhered it to my workstation so it doesn't shift and slide as I'm working, so I can't move it, but I could still pull it up if I needed to because it's just poster putty. So yeah, that's a really good thing. So, and to clean it, you just use hand sanitizer, which used to be like cheap and anybody could ever buy it anywhere.
Yeah.
Which isn't true anymore. This bottle is like precious now. How bad is it, you guys, that I have this big bottle of hand sanitizer that I won't let my family use for their health? I'm saving it for my art. How bad is that? We were rationing hand sanitizer in the rest of the house while Jennifer had this in the art studio. How bad is that? But this is why. Let me demonstrate why Jennifer has been hoarding hand sanitizer in her art studio. Because it cleans so good, and yeah, I'm disinfecting, and my art studio is so clean and COVID free. See, look, it just washes everything up. So yeah, and I clean my hand with it too. It's not going to waste. But yeah, I know I should let my family use my hand sanitizer so they won't get sick. I'm a horrible, horrible mother. Am I horrible, Rose? No, we have plenty of hand sanitizer. Well, not plenty, but we have other hand sanitizer. Yeah,
see,
confessions of an artist.
Luminarius says art is better than health.
Yes.
That's what SDX says too. Art is greater than health.
Yes. Wow, I didn't think I'd be confessing to all of you tonight, but there you have it. That was my
Alicia
confession.
says I gave my husband one of my bottles only.
Yeah,
One
you're
bottle.
only that. I have. Shall we do another confession?
Polly sprays hers with alcohol.
Yeah, that would. I even have rubbing alcohol here. Well, okay. I actually have
Love
two
your
bottles.
chills.
I have 2 bottles of it.
You do.
One's smaller though. But what if my big one runs out? You have. Yeah, artist confessions tonight. Okay. So that was tonight's fun with the Blick Studio markers. Check her out. I think she turned out very pretty, very vivid colors and fun colors. So again, if you're just joining us now, remember we have full free swatch charts for all of the Blick Studio marker colors. Not just the old colors, but the new ones. Steve's been working so hard. So we have all the swatch charts, the links in the video description. We also have the new tritones. All but 4 of the tritones changed because we have better colors now. So come and get those tritones. The way you get those tritones is by supporting Steve and I over at coloringbliss.com. Become a colorist. It's just $5 a month, and you have access to not just the tritones, but the entire coloring page library, which is over how many now? 400?
It's closer to 600 now.
What? Closer
It's over
to
500. for
over
sure.
500 coloring pages, worksheets, all kinds of stuff. Plus you get discounts over at the print shop, all kinds of great stuff. And then consider becoming a Bliss partner. A Bliss partner is only $25 a month, and you get access to our workshops. We're finishing up our gel pen series, but even though you would be coming in at the end of our workshops, for gel pens, you have access to all of the workshops. They're all archived. They're all waiting for you. And we'll be starting brand new workshop series in July and August. And you'll be able to enjoy all those workshops and a really big discount over in the print shop as a partner. So highly recommend you become a partner. And all of your monetary support over at Coloring Bliss helps Steve and I. It's just me and Steve, and his sister helps us in the print shop. It's just a little family business that we do here to share our love of art with all of you and to share the bliss and our art confessions. So, yep. So I hope you enjoyed tonight. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video, and comment below, because all of those little things helps YouTube know that this was a valuable video and will share it. The little algorithm gets happy and shares it out. So if you could do that for us, that would be awesome. Thank you so much to all of you who monetarily supported us tonight by donating during this video. We love you all so much, and we're so grateful. Stay healthy, stay safe, and have a wonderful, colorful, blissful night. Bye-bye, everyone.